Okay.
We're back. Hey everybody, welcome back
Hey.
to part 3 of Once Upon a Game, episode 14, where we're playing Fall of Magic. So, it's a storytelling game where we are moving tokens to spots on a map and telling stories about those spots, basically, in a very, much more dramatic fashion than that. Um, so, Kelsa just had the ritual, the glowing ritual for her golem. Now it's up to the three of us to come up with a scene.
All right. I have one. I think Harp is going to go to the hunting grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then anyone who wants to be with him during the scene can.
I'll probably join you on this.
Okay.
Caspian's learned his lesson.
Yeah. I think so. We're kind of like we've this abandoned inn, and Harp kind of like takes like a short, like not like more like a javelin than a spear off of the wagon, and just kind of like looks at sorry. Why can't I think of the name? River, and kind of motions his head to kind of to say, "Hey, I'm going to the wood. Like, obviously, I'm hunting. Like, do you want to like
Yeah.
you're a fox? Do you want to go?"
Yeah.
Like, just kind of motions his head in that direction.
I would take off a bow and a couple arrows myself.
Okay, yeah, and I think Harp just kind of like knowing that River's going to be coming along, just kind of goes in, and I think we kind of come back to both of them kind of hunched over, like kind of in the brush with a little bit of cover, and Harp just has his finger over his lips, just and I'm gonna roll, see what happens.
Ooh, the life you take.
And I think, yeah, like you see, River sees like Harp with his finger over his mouth, and then almost like it's like in a flash he's gone. And it shifts to Harp's perspective, and he has there's this kind of this stag that you see, and it's a mighty stag. Like this is probably the stag of the forest, and like you kind of like the camera kind of looks at it, like you just see the stag kind of standing there, and I think it's from River's perspective. We see this like River sees the stag and it's just kind of standing there, and like Harp's disappeared at this point. You have no idea where he went, and you just see the stag that was just kind of standing there, and you're looking right at it, and the stag just falls, like just straight, just standing, and then just does the like timber
Dying,
fall. Yeah, just boom, and through its eyes, like, are the is the javelin that Harp.
Jesus.
Yeah, and you just see, like, you see Harp, and he's kind of like he's frail and not too tall, not too big, but for like you see as it falls, you see Harp standing there, like on the other side of it, and for a second, and I'd imagine River has seen like Storm Guardians, right? Like living in the Mistwood, like he probably has seen like the soldiers. Like Harp looks much bigger, and like Harp is like breathing heavily, and it's just like, and he almost like it almost looks like a bear. almost like in the like, and then it kind of shifts back to like this small person that just took down this mighty stag, and you just see this kind of like this fierce look on Harp's face that when he like sees you, kind of like completely just vanishes and just like kind of smiles at you.
Okay. I pretty much say, good thing you had another person with you because I don't think you could have taken the stag back to the camp by yourself. And I guess I tie up the stag's legs so that we could carry him around.
Yeah, yeah. I think like Harp, like when you say that, kind of like smiles at you, like
Yeah.
Ooh, got it. Um, I have a scene for the Circle of Ancients.
Ooh, okay.
So, this is perhaps either a few days after the stag. We are looking at the Magus, basically looking over the remains of the stag, and he's clearly he's clearly been working at them for a while, and he's basically fashioned a new like human what do you call it, like an effigy out or what was the thing that we called it, Kelsa?
fetish.
Fetishes.
A fetishes, yeah, like
Mhm.
a new fetish that looks human, like out of these elk bones, and this one has an obviously just like an elk head, and I think uh, I think the Magus calls us all over. Um, he's like, "Come, please, please, observe closely," and as he like does a quick prayer, um, and sort of like lays the effigy or the fetish out on like out underneath or at the base of the tree, and while he's praying, more and more crows start to come, and
Mhm.
the crows sort of like pick up the effigy and dangle it from the nearby branch, and
Hmm.
says, "Now this you took a life, and the life must be returned to these lands. It is the only way the Grey Rangers would allow us to pass safely on our way towards Umbra." So that's my scene.
Okay.
Nice.
Um, I'm gonna go to the wild altar.
Cool.
Yeah. Um, I would say it's either the same place or near the same place as the Circle of Ancients. Um, and it's just like a cave or a clearing um, with just like animal skins or bones spewed out. And there's a lot of like shiny things like metals and gold, and that is tempting River to just take it because it's right out in the open, and he he doesn't take it. He but he like leaves the deer hide at the wild altar, and then leaves. And
Hmm.
that's that.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to move the Magus?
I'm trying to think.
I kind of want to do a scene at Spirit Lake.
Okay.
Okay.
So, we've been stuck at this place for a while, a few days at least. And while scouting around, Justice has come across this lake. And the lake is fairly large, but very regular in shape. Like, it looks almost like a perfect circle. And it's very still, like disturbingly still. And Justice looks around and walks into the lake and keeps walking into the lake, and is completely submerged when and we see it just trundling along on the bottom of this lake, and and the surface is still disturbingly, eerily still. Like, as the glowing crystal golem walks into it, there are not ripples around its legs or its body on its head. And once its head is submerged, even though like with the camera we can see underwater and like there's silt being pulled up with every step, the surface just looks completely still once again. But paradoxically, you can still like the water is very clear because of that, and so you can see Justice walking along the bottom. And when it gets out a certain distance, a a figure appears that it didn't come from anywhere. It just kind of appears, and we realize it's a ghost of one of the Grey Rangers. And as we realize that, we also kind of see like in the silt at the bottom of the water, like a skeleton.
Ooh.
Like right next to like where the spirit appeared. And so the ghost looks at this golem, and we can hear their exchange even though they're underwater because magic. And the ranger speaks, and he says, "If you are here, then it is time. I know what you need to do. We have studied magic for all of the years that we have been here." And then, like, a chorus of voices say, "all of the years." And then we pan around and we see that there are hundreds of ghosts
Underwater. Yeah. Awesome.
And the at that point Justice nods and says, "That is why I have come for you." And so they all of the ghosts circle around, and they all start talking at once, all of the things that they have learned in the woods, and Justice just nods as if it can understand all of the different thoughts at the same time. And then we pan out, leaving like this conclave at the bottom of this lake.
I like it. I like it.
Getting all the sweet power-ups. Them's fictional power-ups. Move the Magus.
Think so.
Yeah. Who wants to do it?
Suppose I could, unless you want to, John.
I'll wait for next time because I kind of want to choose the next route.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, I'll move it.
Okay.
Okay. So following, I'm assuming Justice's like lead. We like make it out of the Hall of the Woods and are led to this river that it, similarly to the lake, it isn't flowing. Like it is completely still. However, when you put when you reach into the water, it flows against your hand. And like when you can feel it. You can't see it, but you can feel it. And like I think the Magus, like as the wagon goes by, he examines it and is like kind of just looking at it, looks at his hand and kind of is looking around, and you see him kind of look into the woods, and I think that like only from the Magus's perspective, like as he looks into the woods, he sees all of the hundreds and hundreds of these ghosts like standing in the woods, like all around as we approach this river. And he just like, you see that, and you just see like the faint glimmerings of these things, and it's not like of a sense of like farewell. It's as of a sense of like we're watching, like you're not out of it yet. You're still being, this is still our land. Yeah.
Cool.
I guess I got a scene for the tall grass. I guess, are we moving down the river, or are we just by the river?
Your call.
All right. I'll say we're moving down the river. And just ever so suddenly, just glimpses of like eyes just pop out to river. I don't know if other people see it, but I just nudge Justice a little bit, pointing to the eyes, and say, there are plenty of beasts around this area, and a lot of them I wouldn't deal with, so we should be careful.
I am always careful and on guard.
I think you get another like pat from Harp.
Yeah. And I kind of want to say the like predator. We get like predator view from the eyes, just like creeping around, keeping up with the boat, and just watching us. And then that's the end of that.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
I have a scene.
Okay.
Do it.
So by starlight. I think this is gonna be like a reflection scene while we're going on the river. Um, I think Caspian will look back to the time when near the beginning when we went over the bridge and he went over and there was a guy on a horse and it made his horse get scared and fall over and mess up his wares. Well, we fast forward and we see that it was the Magus on the horse that caused it,
Oh.
and we see Caspian arguing with the Magus, like pointing to like his wet sign and stuff like that, and we see the Magus arguing, and Caspian's like really blaming him for like ruining this picture of him and his wife, and look how his wife's all smeared on this page, and the Magus is like, fine, I'll fix that, and the Magus like cast a spell where the damp and disfigurement from the portrait it fixes the portrait but gets transferred to his actual wife,
Oh no.
and basically she becomes like super like ill or like in a coma, and I think looking at this, yeah, we fast forward a little bit and we see that the Caspian has made a deal with somebody in Nistalia, and learns that he can get access to magic that can fix his wife, but the only way to reverse it is to take the life of the Magus. And he's currently looking at a special dagger they gave him, thinking about it, and he kind of regrets having to make this choice, but he sought it out. So, yeah, complex.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's my scene.
All right, I think I have an idea. This one's been kicking around for a minute. Drifting. It's the middle of the night, and we're on this boat on the river, and everyone is asleep. And since justice does not sleep, it is not sleeping. But it is lying down and kind of staring up at the sky because there's no steering the boat, it just goes. And there's nothing for it to run into or anything like that. So we're just sort of moseying along at the pace that we go. And Justice is laying on the bottom of the boat, staring up at the night sky. And there's a number of stars peeking out through the various trees. And it's thinking about the first time it saw the sky because it was nighttime when it happened. And we see a circle similar to the one that it performed the ritual at back in the woods. But this one is in a castle that looks very similar to Ravenhall, but is different. It's very subtle in the ways that it is different, but for those of us in the know on the outside, this is Crow Hall, but hundreds of years ago. And we see the Magus very much as he is now. looking like he's in his 40s, dressed inappropriately for someone of his stature, his social stature, I mean. And he's got Justice by the hand and is leading it outside for the first time and says, and the Magus gestures around and says, and these grounds are going to be yours to protect, Justice. You have a very important duty in keeping us safe here at Crow Hall. And you will wander these grounds and keep out all intruders. And Justice nods solemnly. But again looks up at the stars and points and rumbles out. What are those points of light? They move. And the Magus looks at it, and like this dark expression crosses his face. And he says, I didn't expect you to ask that. Those are stars, Justice. You'll see a lot of them. And I think then we come back to modern day, and you see Justice kind of roll over and look at the Magus sleeping on the boat, still looking the same age, and then the scene ends.
Damn, learning more about the creator golem relationship. Cool.
Yeah. All right, I got mine. I'm gonna need someone to play the Magus. If they'd like.
I'll play the Magus.
Okay. So the first part of this scene, we see Harp like kind of standing at the edge of the boat as it's going down and like looking at like the fish that are going through, and he's got like one of his javelins, and he's just like kind of like sitting there like kind of perched on the front of the boat, and he's just like every so often you just see his hand dart down and he gets a fish, and sometimes he doesn't, and he gets a fish, and it kind of like that whole like as we're floating down, it's probably midday. We find like the scene kind of melds into like that same picture of a much younger Harp, probably about 10 years old at this point, on at Ravenhall, and he's perched on like a rock in the river, and he's doing the same thing. He's like stabbing the fish. And like trying to get food, and I think we see the Magus approach. Approach this, like this is the first time the Magus is like this boy is just fishing in your river.
I think the Magus will he will turn the javelin into a like a net, and seeing the resourcefulness of the boy, in sort of like a blink of an eye, like one of the jabs, it like flashes like, and his javelin kind of turns into a net, and the net now has like 3 fish in it. And the Magi says, "You have quite some skills, but nothing beats a good net." And
I think, I think Harp looks up.
Yeah.
And is like, just kind of like, looks at the Magus and is, and just like and like I think you start to see like kind of like he gets tears like start welling up in his eyes, and it's just like and runs over and just like hugs the mag like completely forgets the fish but just hugs the Magus like
Mm-hmm.
and is just like looking up and is like but has like this concerned look on his face like like he's trying to say something but can't.
What? It's like it's okay, boy. Out with it.
Like any like he like you could see Harps like try to form words but like no sound comes out.
Louder. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You can tell him.
And I think like at this point he's like bawling and you can tell that like the tears weren't from like joy. Like they weren't from the kindness that the Magus showed him. It's the fact that he can't speak.
Oh.
Like he literally can't say it, and he's bawling because he wants to thank the Magus, but he can't.
I think the Magus squats down or like takes a knee to get to the same height as Harp, and I think he like nods respectfully to Harp and puts his hands out, like so, like both hands out, and like gestures for Harp to do the same.
He like very kind of like wipes the tears from his face and reaches out.
You feel a like a current of electricity, like a hum, kind of go through you, and for a moment, you feel that there's like another like head in your head, and the Magus is like, there we can talk like this, in a sort of like just a thoughtful, like telepathic kind of moment,
Right.
of like it feels like a very very zen-like comfort, like we can talk here, it's okay, like you get a lot more of the emotion and like effect
Right.
when this happens.
Right. And I think like the first thing that like Harp like sends in just this like incredibly like like almost mournful question of like can you help me speak again?
He says, it could, this is powerful. It will take a lot of time and a lot of magic and a lot of work and effort from you. Can you promise me that? Can you promise me that you'll be strong?
And I think that Harp's answer is, can you?
And I think the Magus nods very sternly and says, Ravenhall, my study, 6 p.m.
And I think that like Harp sends back, I'll be there, I promise. And then it goes to like the next day or like 6 p.m. and Harp is just out fishing again. Like
Yeah.
and like it like it just sets the scene of like, ah, god damn it.
Classic. Okay.
Yeah.
What a Harper.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I've been waiting on that for so long. Like Harp has not said a word this entire time.
It was pretty great. It was pretty great.
So it's 11:40. probably we should stop here and do our post mortem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to play this game again so bad. I want to actually see what Estalia and everything else is.
Right, we got to Spirit River again.
Yeah, we got the Spirit River again in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. So what we did? How many zones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did 6 zones in 3 hours though.
Yeah, it's
It's pretty good. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts and feelings about the game.
I enjoy it having a simple like character and basically no like stats, or like you only have to have a D6 pretty much to play. This is really interesting and I like the concept of it. And I have been enjoying just listening to the stories that we've been telling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Kelsey or Robert?
I'm really loving like how simple the prompts are, but like how many different ways that you can take that. And I'm already thinking about like if I had a lot of trouble coming up with what to do in the Spirit River, like trying to, because I had established my character as being a literal golem, and so it took a while for me to try to find what I thought would be a really good direction to take that. And like under Fishing in a Promise You Won't Keep, I like had a bunch of different ideas that would be fantastic but not work for being a golem.
Yeah.
And like under like Regret, I was like, oh man, that's so cool. I could do a bunch of. No, I don't think regret is an emotion that actually justice is capable of feeling.
Yeah.
And so it was very interesting to have those prompts and the feeling that my brain got trying to come up with the scenes.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I started this with an experiment where I was going to play a mute character and see how that worked. And I think one of the things it did is it obviously like separated my character from a lot of what was going on because I couldn't react.
Verbalize.
Yeah.
Yeah, verbalize, like they couldn't do that. But like one of the things I was essentially trying to test the game and see like is there something that is there something in here that like is inherent with people working together or being able to like have those scenes and just freaking naturally fell into place where even though my character was mostly kind of doing stuff alone, like when they were with other people, it totally still worked. Like everything kind of fell into place. This game is so interesting that everything always falls into place.
I was going to comment that on as well. It just seems like the game is very accommodating, and the prompts are I don't know. I think the consciousness, or like the conscientiousness of like and just how deliberate the prompts are located in the different zones. I think that is just insanely good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very strong sense of narrative pacing.
Right.
That I think I never picked up on until this time through.
Yeah.
And like I was picking it up, I think near the end of the first game, but like really, really, each of these zones really carries a strong sort of like theme.
Yeah.
Right, and like and the narrative pacing, like it's so well weaved into these zones, like
Absolutely.
And one thing I find fascinating about this is that because of the way it's laid out on the map, and the assumption of the game is we are traveling with the Magus, we are heading towards Umbra, and so we don't need a bunch of scenes of us walking from location to location. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all like here you are, there you are, and the fact that you're going from here to there is assumed, and so we can be just like, okay, from the Oak Hills, now we're at Barleytown, you know, and I I feel like I'm not explaining it very well, but I feel like that's something that a lot of times in a role playing game, in a more traditional role playing game, it can be really awkward to be like, okay, we're sort of done in this scene. We're going to move on to the next part, the next town, or what have you. And then it can be like kind of awkward. But in this, there's no awkwardness to it. It's like, okay, so for the next part, we're going to show the Magus introducing us to this new location, and now we're there. Done.
Yeah, the ability to cut directly to the next action is super cool.
Yeah, and I like that they put it on the Magus, like you said, because it really is almost that like it essentially tells a story in third person limited, but but allows for a story, because the greatest third person limited stories, in my opinion, are the ones that have many characters. Like if you're writing in third person limited, the best way or not the best way, but like the
For
way
those of us that don't know what third person limited is,
Oh,
aka myself.
Oh, sorry. Third person limited in writing is so you're in the third person, but it's only from one perspective.
Okay.
So like it, as opposed to the third person omniscient, where
Yeah.
it's in the third person, but you get to see everyone's perspective. When you're telling stories like this, it's very interesting to see the story from everyone's different perspectives, and you like this naturally falls into it because you get the Magus to set the scene, and then you get the other characters how they're experiencing this area, like
Uniquely
from
differently.
Yeah, uniquely. It's very it's essentially teaching you how to write a good story, like, or how to like.
No,
Like,
it's true. No, it's super
Yeah,
true.
it kind of does.
like I mean it's a formulaic story, but good stories kind of tend to be formulaic. Like there's a reason why.
Um, the next place I was gonna go was the cavern, unless that was from the mountain path that you had to go.
You mean the mouth of the deep?
Yeah, mouth of the deep.
Yeah, you
Awesome.
can get there from either direction.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and that's the thing, is that like the cool thing about this, we could go to the mouth of the deep and then to Castle Stormguard, and then like we you know, you could, as long as it follows the path, you can go there and you can move the Magus there. You don't have to technically try to get to
Okay.
Umbra as fast as you can,
Yeah.
and I really like that aspect of it, where because you read these books and you have like, we're going from here to here, and it's like, why did you take this windy path to get there?
Yeah, like the Hobbit story is just, they could have traveled better.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
I just can't stop thinking about this game and like being like, what if we had to escort the Last Jedi? You know what I mean?
right.
And then it would just be like, over in Ravenhall, it would be like the Last Jedi Academy or whatever, and it'd be the last time you saw the Force, and just be like, done. Why do you serve the Jedi? And just replace Magus with Jedi, and replace magic with Force, and you've just basically made it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of those
Oh.
little dots are stars.
Yeah, and
Different
instead of the
planet.
castle, you know, it's like the city of Stormguard, or you know what I mean, or like Barleytown is like Mos Eisley, you know, just like done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'd almost like to see like a baseline version of this where it is kind of just
Abstract. Yeah.
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 Everything is like those little islands.
I
That
kind
would
of,
actually be really cool.
yeah, I kind of wanted to see the like islands flipping stuff.
Yeah, me too, but we didn't get to it.
Nope.
We also have the Underdark part that we could do. There are so many cool things that we could do.
Yeah.
Additionally, I would consider playing this game in a non-medieval fantasy, in more like a gothic fantasy.
Okay.
I think that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So more like 17 or like 1600s.
Yeah.
I think there's no reason why you could not just declare that at the beginning.
Yeah, no, there isn't.
And I mean, with the way everything is set up, I think that would work perfectly reasonably.
Yeah.
This is just so cool.
Eric, what did you think of the second playthrough? Like the differences and things like that. Like, what were your impressions?
I think we fell into the same trap that we did the first session. Is that I don't think we introduced enough interplay into our scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tried to introduce someone I could, but
Yeah.
I felt my character was the least capable of doing that. And so whenever I thought there was kind of an option to have more of you guys involved, I definitely made it clear. Like the beginning, I was like, "You're all there," and then at the inn, which I really enjoyed doing that. Like I was very tempted to see if I could make this wine glass sing, just for that, but I.
Yeah,
decided I would look really dumb if it didn't work. So.
Yeah, I was. One thing that I regret was I wasn't able to bring up more prompts, kind of to like ask different questions about different characters. Like one I wanted to do for you, Kelsa. I wanted to explore how you felt about being the Magus's like servant. Like, are you like kind of like questioning the sentience, master, relationship, and your own autonomy. I wanted to approach some of those subjects through the course of the game, but I unfortunately didn't get to. I like playing with the foxes since I rolled foxes in foraging.
Yeah.
And I was question marking myself on how I was going to relate to River.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me, to Fawn. No, Harp.
Oh yeah. So I have a question. Did you guys do like one of the things I was doing? I was like deliberately hiding the fact that he was mute.
Yeah, I didn't catch up on that myself.
I didn't catch up on that either.
Okay.
I like as you were talking about it, like it dawned on me that wait a minute, you never actually spoke at all.
Yeah.
I totally missed it. I just thought you were just felt on a binge of describing your descriptions in the third person. So I was like, okay. I mean, I've been there. I've been there. Sometimes it's just how you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the ways I was hiding it, was that I would describe an action as what it was saying, was what the action was saying, and so I was like trying to hide the fact that he wasn't talking by saying he's doing this action, which is kind of telling you that.
See, I do that all the time though.
Yeah.
When I roleplay.
No, exactly. A lot of people do, and I think
it's
it's brilliant.
It's so easy to declare like, well, I'm acting, and here's my intention that's going on in my head, and it's just like, but yeah. So I was like, oh, look, Robert's just doing that, but no.
Yeah.
He had to take it one meta level higher.
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't get to explore. I was interested to see if we would go to the Stormguard Mountains, because I didn't get to explore why he was
Fugitive.
a fugitive.
I describe you as being the Skyrim main character.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it was actually it was supposed to be like a ritual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that from your
I was picking
letter.
that up. Yeah, a lottery,
Yeah.
chosen one kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That it was.
But I thought it was more of the short story, the lottery.
Oh yeah. I was trying to build on it. I never really got into a solid place on like what it meant and what it was. All I had was like he had to leave Stormguard and couldn't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I had a lot of fun, like, cause like going through stuff, I was like, I really wanted to be a golem that was like a golem. Like I thought about it being like an honorific title, or something, and like went through a bunch of different iterations before I settled on like crystal thing. And then, which made me think, even in the future, if I was to replay this, I could take one of those other ideas, be a title, have it be a flesh golem, have it be like an android, like wanting to become human, or any of those things.
Yeah.
You could almost stretch this game in a 3-player game and do the Wizard of Oz. Escorting Dorothy.
Yes. Yes. I love
Golem's
it.
the Tin Man. Maybe the Lion's the hero. Or no. The Swineherd is the Scarecrow. And something else for the last one.
I'd say merchant for the lion.
For the lion. Yeah. Oh, I would totally play that game.
Well, you could
Awesome.
also have the dog as fox.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of Toto.
Toto
Yeah.
as the fox.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's awesome. You have to escort Dorothy.
No, the scarecrow has to be the scholar because he he used to have a brain, but he lost it.
Oh. Oh my god. I'm actually just going. No offense. I'm stealing that arc anyways for the next game I play of this because that's brilliant. Playing a scholar trying to go to Umbra to regain his lost knowledge. God damn, that's amazing.
No, I'm loving this game so much. Like,
Oh yeah, there are so many awesome stories here. Dang, Castle, that's really good. That's like really, really good. Oh. I'm gonna write that in a notebook somewhere. That's going in the next RPG I play for sure. Is that what a powerful hook that is?
Yeah, one thing that like because you mentioned the fact that there's like less character interaction and like we fell into that both times. I honestly
Yeah.
I feel like that might be a fault of like it's not necessarily a fault with us as players. I think it's kind of a fault of the game.
It's true. It doesn't point us into that.
Right, yeah, it doesn't give you you have to actively do it, and knowing my mentality, I don't like it when games require the players to be good.
Well, here's what it says under good ideas, right? It says start with the physical description of the place. Use touch, smell, and taste in your description. Ask a lot of questions. What does the rose garden look like? Or what is going on at the bridge right now? Leave plenty of space for quieter players to speak. Speak in character. Ask someone to play a part of your scene like a fisherman, the wind, or a flock of birds. Describe a brief moment in detail. And then when you revisit a scene, show what has changed. And skip ahead to the parts that interest you, or go back to something interesting we skipped, as well as ask for ideas.
Yeah,
So, like, that's it. There's no, like, hey, here's how you could hook people in.
right, yeah, like it's like I don't think of any
and
of the
I
good
don't think you
ideas.
have to though. That's the thing.
No, you don't have to. You clearly
I don't
don't. Like, the game
necessarily have to.
works well enough on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think out of those good ideas, we like did most of them.
I think this game just suffers like most story games where it takes a little bit to get like used to the clothes that you're wearing, like fictionally, right? Like getting
Yeah.
into the headspace of your character. Because you're kind of discovering your character as you play, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now I'm getting it, and like you get to a certain like model percent done message where then it's like, okay, everything's coming together. It's not always 100%, but it's like enough like, okay, I can jump on this.
Yeah.
And get it, right? There's like a critical mass
Yeah.
of fiction that must develop in your head and build, and then you're like, okay, I can work with this.
yeah. One thing I'd like to see is like just from a data perspective,
Mm-hmm.
is see what people choose like over 100 games, like not the same group but just random groups.
I would I would also like to see what sort of tropes people come up with for the different titles.
Yeah,
That's just something I'd be interested in.
yeah, because I feel like I mean we've played this twice and none of us took the hall, like why we must stay. Like we didn't even touch
Yeah.
that both times. Like we haven't touched a happy memory. Like yeah, there's
God, I know. There's so many
Again,
things we
I
could do.
thought of a number of like a happy memory, but I'm like, I'm not entirely sure that justice feels the emotion of happiness.
right.
I think like I think
It's
like
interesting.
and so it was like I felt like I was trying very hard to be the emotionally detached golem, and so a lot of these like have prompts that involve emotion, which can make it difficult if that's the way you're going. But I like the challenge of that too. So
Oh yeah, no, I love the limitation. I would just be interested to see if there's any like trends.
So
Uh,
here's what I will say. I'm just gonna. This is my little prediction, right? So Ravenhall and the Oak Hills, they sort of, well, not Ravenhall's relatively like neutral emotion about character, right? Like
right.
it sort of harkens to like neutral emotion. Oak Hills is sort of like hint that something's not all hunky dory. Hint or like this is where you start adding like your corners. Um, and then Barleytown I think is like go back to the smooth part. Don't worry about the corner so much. Think about like the nice parts again. And
mhm.
then Stormguard, Mistwood, and Hall of the Woods are all like, now let's go back to those corners. Let's really hash out those corners. Right? Like you get a little bit of a hint of things that are off base from who you left behind, a comfort from home or your ritual. And then Barleytown, it seems like what you need for the journey, a happy memory, a song of your people. It's like positive notes, and then it's like negative, negative, negative,
Yeah.
negative, negative,
Uh,
and then I the game sort of like starts coming back. I think
yeah.
to the positive.
Though with the sharp edges in Barleytown, Confession and Battle Fought long ago, both those are kind of
Oh,
there.
that's true. That's true. I guess they it's designed well enough that there is always some good and bad, so it's not always that way.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely feel like it's I mean, you can play it in different ways. Like I took the hospitality of the Barley Lord and twisted it into being
Bad,
negative.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
And
you go ahead,
I
sorry.
That's also true. Yeah, it's totally subjective.
mhm.
Oh, and
And
the
Oh,
comfort from home, you kind of made it a bit sad.
he also made that pretty dark, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And a morning ritual that was super dark.
Yeah.
Just drinking all the time.
yeah. This one felt a lot darker than the last game, like the last time on Monday when we played. Like, I mean, we were starting to get dark at the end,
Yeah.
but like we got dark quick at this one. Like Barley, like when we got to Barleytown on Monday,
Yeah.
like it was all happy and wonderful and parties and everything. But like like yeah, I just love that like the prompts are vague enough to allow that kind of
Approach. Yeah.
yeah. And
Hmm.
I love that we kind of the theme of this was to take something and then twist it, like the hospitality of the Barley Lord, like
Yup.
twisted. I was trying to get for that last scene with the promise you won't keep. I was trying to get the Magus to make a promise that he wouldn't keep.
I know, and I kept twisting, and I was like, nope, no,
I
no.
know.
I was thinking of going to the fishing so that I break the promise with the priest of just stealing stuff. Like I
Mm-mm.
found a bunch of coins in the river of or the Spirit River.
Oh, I like that. The you're
That
fishing,
is.
but you're fishing
Uh,
for.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If we had
That's
more
cool.
time.
I know, right?
Awesome.
Some really good
Yeah.
stuff.
So, it's 12:04. So, last words. Anybody?
A lot of fun.
Cool. So,
This is great.
all right then. Outros. So, I'll start. This has been episode 14 of One Spot a Game, a story game variety show where we play just really cool GMless, prepless games to show that you don't always need to create massive characters and stuff like that. There's plenty of games with less barriers of entry that really kind of like queer what it means to be a GM and what it means to be a player. So it's really cool. The avant-garde of gaming. Um,
I
so
appreciate the use of queer in that phrase.
yeah. Um, So if you're interested in playing
Sorry.
any of these games, feel free to reach out to me here in the comments or here in the chat if you're catching the live stream, as well as hit me up on Twitter if you need to, and I can send you a link to the Discord channel where I do all my scheduling, and from there you can be in contact and hang out and ask questions about games and that kind of stuff. So that's what I do, and I stream Monday and Wednesdays at 9. Going to be doing that until the end of the year, except for the week for Christmas. So yeah, that's me. Kelsa?
Oh, okay. I didn't know which way we were going. Hi, I'm Kelsa Delphi in Twitch, Kelsa, pretty much everywhere else. I stream playing role-playing games, and running role-playing games, and occasionally playing video games. That might happen more eventually. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. I have opinions about things, and that's it. You can find me on Twitter at Kelsa, and I post when I'm going to be in various games and pictures of my cats, and also spiders. Yep.
Awesome, Kelsa. John.
I am M Chief 30 pretty much everywhere. I try to keep the same name. I streamed long ago. I have a YouTube channel that I haven't posted videos on for like 10 years or something like that. Really
Awesome.
long time. But I'm just always around on Math Squad Discord. And I like to play games and have fun.
Yeah. John is a first timer here on Once Upon a Game. So really thank you so much for coming out here
Yeah.
and trying this out.
And thank you for having me.
Of course. And last but not least.
Robert, Demosthenes everywhere. Spelt Demos the knees. Just as it is on the overlay, I'm sure. I am often on Once Upon a Game. I try to at least get on at least once a week. I love it. I love Eric, and so I try to be on his show as much as possible. Other than that, I am currently trying to make games and actually get them published. And I am, on the Math Squad, either in Adam's chat while he's streaming or on the Discord, as well as on the Once Upon a Game Discord. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's awesome. Terms of scheduling, next week I'll be running Fiasco on Monday and Wednesday. So if you want to play Fiasco, let me know. And this weekend I will also be streaming some more. Sunday I'm going to be streaming The Warren over at AP Gaming Real's stream. That's Twitch TV/AP Gaming Real. And then the Sunday, I will be doing a back-to-back stream where I'll be playing Downfall in the morning, which is a new game by Carolyn Hobbs, and then playing Souls of Steel, which is a mecha anime pilot powered by the Apocalypse hack. So it'll be fun to play Souls of Steel. Oh, sorry, it's not. It's Night Witches, I think. I don't know. I don't know. I have to like my calendar. So one of the two. So anyways, that'll be it for me. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Yeah.